Hey guys, so as you can see behind me, we had a bit of a disaster with our lean-to. We had 75-mile-an-hour winds the other night, which just tore it down, shredded it all up, and even managed to dent the roof with this large bit of wood that fell down as well. So it's all good fun. This is just reminding us how tricky doing these sort of projects in the winter can be. Everything's against us. The weather is just relentless down here in Cornwall all the time. So we're having a few problems, but we're aiming to get back up this weekend. Hopefully we're going to rebuild it stronger and give it another go. So it's a little bit of a setback, which is kind of frustrating, but luckily we did manage to get a few things done before this happened, so let's show you that now.
Before we build the back, we need to sort out a few things underneath the chassis. The first job was to remove the bearing from the prop shaft and replace it with a new one. It should be a straightforward job, but on a 40-year-old vehicle things are often never as easy as they seem. We started by marking the position of the prop shaft for when we'd reattach it later.
That's just totally rounded off now.
After realising I wasn't getting anywhere with the conventional way of undoing the bolts, it was time to bring out the big guns.
That's one way to do it.
Once I'd ground off the nuts, the bolts came out easily enough with a bit of wiggling. I kept them to one side so I'd know which ones to replace them with later on.
It's off?
Yeah.
Yeah! Woohoo!
With the first stage complete, we pulled the rear prop shaft off to reveal the dodgy bearing. We then set about detaching the bearing from the front prop shaft by first undoing the bolts, which were very rusty and difficult to get off.
Right, Mandy.
Everything's hard on this then.
Cut it off.
It's just welded on, man. At this point we should have been able to easily remove the bearing, but it seemed to be seized on.
It should slide out.
It's not budging. We managed to remove the housing, but the bearing itself just was not budging. After some yanking and prising, we realised we were going to need a specialist tool to get this bearing off. A jaw puller. Once the jaw puller was attached around the bearing, it was a simple case of tightening the centre bolt to apply enough pressure to release the bearing.
All that for that.
How much was that?
All of that.
Now we had the bearing off, we needed to find a replacement. The official ones were around 80 quid, but after a bit of research we realised that with a few minor tweaks we could get a Ford Transit Mark 7 bearing to fit, as the diameter was identical. Once we had located the correct bearing, a few adjustments were needed to the chassis to fit the new bracket securely.
Sorted.
We made the holes bigger on the new bearing housing too. With the new bearing fitted, we began reassembling the whole prop shaft. Remember the bolts we ground off earlier? Well, the replacements don't fit the holes, so rather than wasting time replacing them, we made the holes bigger. We tightened all the bolts up and gave the prop shaft a test to make sure it sounded smooth.
Oh yeah, super smooth. Sounds a lot quieter.
Silent. Thanks for watching our latest video. We know this kind of content might not appeal to everyone, but we want to show every element of the build from start to finish, and we promise it'll start getting a lot more interesting soon. If you want to check out any of the tools we've used in this video, then hit up the links in the description below.